Hi, you're watching Reddit Shikstore, and if you're looking for a story that doesn't start with butterflies in your stomach and a happy ending, you've come to the right place. My name is Jonathan Reed, but everyone just calls me John. I'm 45 years old, living in a quiet suburb outside of Chicago, Illinois. I've spent the last 20 years working as a project manager for a mid-sized construction firm, nothing glamorous, but it pays the bills and keeps the roof over our heads. My wife, Sarah, is 42, and she's always been the ambitious one. She climbed the ladder at her marketing firm downtown, becoming a senior account executive. We met in college at the University of Illinois, got married right after graduation, and built what I thought was a solid life together. A cozy 3-bedroom house, 2 cars in the driveway, and weekends spent grilling burgers in the backyard or catching Cubs games on TV. Looking back, the signs were there, but I was too damn trusting, or maybe just too comfortable, to see them. It started about a year ago. Sarah began working late more often, claiming big client pitches and team-building events. She'd come home smelling like a mix of her floral perfume and something sharper, like men's cologne. Her phone was always glued to her hand, buzzing with work texts at odd hours. I'd ask about her day, and she'd give vague answers, her eyes darting away. We hadn't been intimate in months. She'd blame stress or headaches. I chalked it up to midlife stuff, maybe the spark had faded, but we'd get through it like we always did. Then came the day everything shattered. It was a Thursday in early fall, leaves turning orange on the trees lining our street. I had a rare day off and decided to surprise her with lunch at her office. I packed her favorite, Italian subs from that deli on Michigan Avenue, and headed downtown. As I pulled into the parking garage of her building, I spotted her car, a silver Honda Accord we'd bought together 5 years ago. But something felt off. I walked up to the entrance and texted her. "Hey babe, surprise lunch downstairs." No response. After 10 minutes, I went inside and asked the receptionist if Sarah was in a meeting. She checked and said Sarah had stepped out for a quick errand. That didn't sit right. I wandered back to the garage, and that's when I saw it. Sarah, laughing and leaning into a guy as they got out of his sleek black BMW. He was younger, maybe mid-30s, with that polished corporate look, gelled hair, tailored suit, the kind of guy who probably spent his weekends at trendy bars in Wrigleyville. They didn't notice me at first. She touched his arm, and he pulled her in for a kiss, right there, in broad daylight. My world tilted. The guy's name was Mike Harlan, her coworker. I'd met him once at a company Christmas party. He was the hotshot creative director she'd raved about. I ducked behind a pillar, heart pounding like a jackhammer. They walked arm in arm toward the elevator, whispering like teenagers. I followed at a distance, slipping into the stairwell to avoid being seen. By the time I got back to my truck, rage boiled in my veins. But I didn't confront them then. No, I played it smart. I drove home, poured myself a stiff bourbon, and started planning. First, I needed proof. That night, when Sarah came home acting normal, kissing my cheek and complaining about traffic, I smiled through it. Over the next few weeks, I turned detective. I checked our phone bills online. Sure enough, hundreds of texts and calls to Mike's number. I even installed a tracking app on her phone when she was in the shower one morning, nothing fancy, just something I found on a tech forum. It showed her late nights were spent at a motel off the interstate, or at his condo in Lincoln Park. But the real goldmine was her work laptop. She left it open one evening while making dinner. I snooped through her emails and found a chain of messages that made my stomach turn. Flirty banter turning explicit, plans for lunch breaks that were anything but professional. There were even photos, nothing too graphic, but enough to confirm the affair had been going on for at least 6 months. Mike was married too, with a kid on the way. What a scumbag. I could have divorced her quietly, taken half and walked away. But no. They humiliated me, betrayed me in the most intimate way. I wanted them to feel it. Revenge had to be calculated, public, and irreversible, without landing me in jail. I gathered more evidence. I hired a private investigator through a discreet online service, cost me a couple grand, but worth it. He tailed them for a week, snapping photos of their motel rendezvous and cozy dinners at that overpriced steakhouse in the Loop. I also dug into Mike's background. Turns out, he had a history. A previous workplace harassment complaint swept under the rug at his old job. Sarah's firm had a strict no fraternization policy, especially for executives. The takedown. I created an anonymous email account and compiled a dossier, emails, texts, photos, timelines. I sent it to the HR department at their firm, copying the CEO and board members. The subject line: ongoing workplace affair and policy violations. I timed it for a Monday morning, right before a big company-wide meeting Sarah had mentioned. The fallout was swift and brutal. By Tuesday, Sarah came home in tears, saying there was a misunderstanding at work. She confessed everything, or most of it, begging for forgiveness, swearing it was a mistake. I played dumb at first, letting her squirm. Then I dropped the bomb. I know, Sarah. Eve known for weeks. I showed her the evidence on my phone. She went pale, stammering excuses about feeling neglected, about Mike being just a fling. But I wasn't done. While she was reeling, I contacted Mike's wife anonymously through a burner phone. I sent her the photos and details, suggesting she check his phone records. Within days, she filed for divorce, taking him to the cleaners. Mike got demoted at work, then quietly resigned amid the scandal. Last I heard, he's crashing on a buddy's couch, his BMW repossessed. As for Sarah, the firm put her on probation, but the damage was done, her reputation tanked. Clients pulled accounts, and she was passed over for promotions. We separated immediately. I filed for divorce, citing infidelity. Illinois is no fault, but with the evidence, I got the house, half the savings, and she pays alimony since she earns more. I even got custody of our dog, Max, a golden retriever who's been my loyal companion through it all. Now, 6 months later, I'm rebuilding. I joined a gym, lost 20 pounds, and started dating again, nothing serious, just enjoying life. Sarah. She's in a tiny apartment downtown, still at the firm but stuck in a dead-end role. Mike's life is in shambles. Me. I sleep like a baby, knowing justice was served. Betrayal cuts deep, but revenge? It's a balm for the soul. If there's one lesson here, it's this. Don't mess with a man's trust. You'll regret it.